guess I start with overwhelmingly, I think it's a positive story for government. It's actually come at a time where governments around the world, and I'm talking about generative AI more generally, obviously, governments around the world have been sort of running headlong into crises of tight fiscal conditions, increasing demands from the society in terms of the services and the level of service we need to be able to provide, aging populations, but we're not in a position where we can go out and hire a lot more people. So the message for us and our staff, and anecdotally as well as my lived experience and surveys that have been done in the public service broadly across Australia and around the world, is that most public servants are seeing this as an excellent thing.
As an organisation that's going on this transformation journey ourselves, it's actually not just kind of skill transformation, it's cultural transformation. And I think that's actually been the harder thing. I actually think it is not that difficult a task to upskill people in, how to use ChatGPT and some of the basics of agentic building and all those sorts of things. It's actually culture change. It's taking risks, it's experimentation, it's failing, it's what within the bounds. And so that's been one thing that I've been surprised at. Even in a company like Go1, which is a technology company, the culture shift and the culture change needed has been harder than I thought it would be. So I have a lot of empathy for everyone in this room going through AI transformation initiatives. And to answer specifically the question around what we think is going to happen with jobs, first of all, no one knows. But my hypothesis is not so much like job elimination or replacement. It's that value chains of roles will end up compressing into a singular role, which won't necessarily mean less people, but it'll mean a broader set of responsibilities. And I'll be specific and then leave it there. So if you think about the product development chain, for any of you in product development or software building today, you've probably got a user researcher, you've got a UX designer, you've got a product manager that sits across that, you've got an engineering manager or whatever it is along that, you have a QA analyst or blah, 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 blah. And then you have a product marketing manager that then converts that feature into something which you can sell in terms of narrative. Now, I actually think lots of those roles are going to compress into the role of a product manager, augmented by amazing user research tools, tools that can transform API documentation into a public-facing thing you can sell. Now, that does not mean there'll be less people in product teams. They're certainly not in Go1. In fact, we're hiring for more. But the number of individual roles required to deliver something is actually decreasing, and therefore the throughput of each person is increasing.
We need a shared language, a shared commonality of how do we talk about all these technical things at a level that is technical enough to be useful and granular, but also not too heavy and bogged down that it takes 3 to 5 years to pump it out and can't keep up with the pace of change. So from a design perspective, it needs to be principles-based, but yeah, fundamentally, I'm going to come back to how do we talk about it in a common language to break down that fear and turn the fear into opportunity.